Welcome, welcome, one and all. Our Hangout is live. If you want to join the Hangout, just let me know. I will send you a link to this Hangout. So once again, if you want to join this Hangout, because I want some people to talk with, and we're going to talk about Justice League, the topics that you see here, a director's cut, as well as the digital release that has been released today. Today, there's been the digital release of Justice League. And if you need a link to get the digital release of Justice League and you want the bonus features, because Justice League, the bonus features for Justice League will have all of those deleted scenes and all of the stuff about the making of the movie and the background stuff with Superman and all kinds of stuff you get with the bonus features. So you got to get that. Now, I think that if you're going to get, honestly, if you're going to get, there's the Blu-ray and DVD, which will have, I think, much more bonus features, a whole history of Superman and all of that, but you get some bonus features. I know for a fact that if you go to Microsoft to download Justice League, you're going to get bonus features. I think they say 4 minutes of bonus features, and you can get it also in a format UHD, I think it's called, which is like 4K, which is awesome. So there's all of that with the digital release. I haven't caught my digital release, but early in the morning I was trying to get it, but I tried to work with first iTunes. I downloaded iTunes to try and get it. Then I tried to get it through Microsoft. I had to open up a Microsoft account and get an app. I think it's a music and TV app. So I've been trying to work on that. But as you can see here, these are the two topics we're talking about. Let me just copy this link here. I'm going to see you guys. Now, I'm not going to put this in the comment section because I don't want any and everybody to get into this Hangout. And we're going to talk some hot topics, and we're going to be brutally honest about WB and about Justice League and about Zack Snyder's a cut that Zack Snyder actually has. So we're going to be brutally honest about this. We're going to really talk in detail about Justice League. So hold on to whatever you can hold on to, because we're going in for a ride. This one's going to be quite a ride. We're going to try and be as straightforward as we can be about this without being negative. We have to still strive to be positive in all things. I did vent already about what I saw, and I'm going to show you guys some stuff as well while I'm here with this video. So let me get to you guys on YouTube, see what's up with y'all. I know there's a lot of you want to say things about this, so that's cool. Leave your comments in the comment section. That's over here. Comment section is over here. Leave all your comments there. I'm ready to hear you guys talk, chat away in the chat section. But I also, the rain is falling now, and it's going to interrupt me. Let me step away from the. Let me step away from the computer for a second and close a window because it's raining out there. It just suddenly started coming down a shower. Excuse me for 1 second. Wonderful. So we're going to talk about this, and I'm going to show you guys stuff because I'm going to show you guys stuff on this. Marcus Harrell says, "The is bull man." I guess you meant that is bull man. We're gonna talk, Marcus. We're gonna talk. Everybody gonna talk. Everybody gonna get their piece up in here. I'm not regulating nobody. Just don't curse. Don't use obscene language. You know, Dave Ethan. Hey there. Good to see you. All right. Now, if you want to join me in this Hangout, I want to hear sound bites. I want to hear all of you guys and your different views. Just let me know. All you have to say in the comment section right here, where I'm typing in something in the comment section right here, is I want to be in your Hangout now. Okay? And then I will go to your channel and I will message you. All right? Hopefully I can get to your channel. Marcus Hall, is there a way to get to your channel? Let me see. Yes, go to channel. When I go to Marcus Hall's channel, there you are. It just says subscribe. Home. Pity. Marcus Hall. Ain't gonna be hard to get to you, brother, because you ain't got nothing that I can contact you through. Maybe, I don't know. You got a video here. Justice League, more thoughts. Thank you, Zack Snyder. 6 views 2 months ago. So you seem to have made a video that can contact you through your video. All right, that's how we'll do it. All right, Marcus Harrell. Marcus Harrell. Shout out to you, brother. I know you're a Zack Snyder fan. I can tell that. All right, so just type "I want to be in your hangout" now, and then I will send you the link. I may not be able to send you the link through the usual way. I may have to message you somewhere in your YouTube channel. All right, don't forget, if you like this video, please below put a like down below. Like the video down below. All right, we're getting into this. Dave, Ethan, I just want to invite you. Dave, do you want to be on this? You don't have to show your face. If you know about Hangouts, you don't have to show your face to enter a Hangout. Just let me know, Dave, Ethan. I'll send you the link. All right, just check and see if I can get to your channel as well, Dave, Ethan. See, I go to Dave Ethan's channel here. See what's up with your channel. Use the same thing. Use the same thing, brother. You don't really all right, what I can do, I'll put it in the chat section. I'll put the link in the chat section to get into the Hangout. You guys got to come out the shadows, man. Not just comment on the wings. Come into our Hangout, man. Let's join. I don't just want my views on things. All right, I want a more holistic approach to things, man. Let's be more holistic about stuff. All right, so here I am. This is the Hangout here. I'm in the Hangout again. We got 5 viewers. That's cool. Remember, you can join me in the Hangout. Let me know. I'm going to leave the Hangout link in the comment section on YouTube. Not the comment section, sorry, in the chat. So this is the link to the Hangout. All right. I just didn't want any and everybody just jumping in on the Hangout. But you click on that, and then it'll give you some directions as to what you should do, and you join the Hangout. All right. Let's make sure it's working. Test it out myself. Yeah. All right, wonderful. So yeah, that's the link to the Hangout. All you do is you click on the link, and don't worry, once you have a camera or you have an audio with your computer or your phone, whatever it is, you just click on that. You can click to not show your face, so you just have a picture of your channel. And join the Hangout, man. I'm inviting you guys. Come on, I don't want to just hear my voice. All right, now I got some stuff to show you guys, so let me get to it. So the title, as you can see here, is Justice League, and I'm just gonna get rid of that. Yeah, the title here is Justice League. Okay, cool. Get that out the way as well. All right, the title here is Justice League Director's Cut and Digital Release. Yo, yeah, Justice League. R2 Lemonade. Oh, title here is Justice League Director's Cut and Digital. Oh, you're my brother. What's up?
Well, it's saw you had a stream and decided to join for change. You can hear me, right?
That is awesome. All right, so what we would do, I'll take turns talking, and then you take turns talking. When I'm talking, you just mute, and when you're talking, I'll mute, right? So we can take turns talking, man. This is awesome to see you, R2. I've never seen you before. Cool to see you, bro.
First time for everything.
Well, we got a lot to talk about. So the first thing I'm going to do in this Hangout is show you a little something. Maybe you've seen it, maybe you haven't. Okay, there's also the group chat where you can easily type in whatever you want. On the side, you just click the, you'll see a chat icon on the side, on the left. Yeah, click the chat so you can talk right in here. I'll just type something in there so you can see me. I'll say, here I am. You see that? To your left, so you'll see. Yeah, there you go. Wonderful, wonderful. All right. So let me show you something. First of all, I'm showing everybody. I'm going to screen share here. And okay, here we go. And you'll see here in front of you this storyboard. Now, this storyboard was done by Zack Snyder. And Dave the Film Junkie was the first guy actually to show it. And it features Darkseid. All right. And basically, the background behind it, according to Dave Film Junkie, is that Darkseid is seen in a sort of vision when Cyborg taps into the Kryptonian ship. He gets this sort of vision of the future, a certain type of reality where Darkseid, as you can see here, this means panning in. So I'm actually looking at a closer view of Darkseid, and the mother boxes send him a signal, and he comes down to Earth. And as a result of that, we get this reality where the Justice League, you can see them in the background, and you see the destruction all around. And then when we look, we see the Omega symbol in the ground. Remember Batman coming out of BVS?
Yeah.
So this is basically, this is Zack Snyder. How we know it's Zack Snyder? Because it doesn't really show that. Well, Zack Snyder did also, of course, he revealed some of the storyboard for when Superman was carried back to the Kent farm by Lois Lane. Here's a pan-in shot. We saw it in the trailer. Superman looking at the sun, and then Lois is watching at him. He's feeling the corn, the ears of corn, and then Lois, she's there, and then he turns around and he says, I think, so that's a yes. And then she looks at him, and then he says, the ring. You remember that? That was from the trailer. And here's another one. As you can see, this is Zack Snyder's account from Vero. This is where he was looking at the Kent farm. This was his sketch out of it for storyboarding. And here we have the storyboarding with the mother boxes, the mother box of Earth, where we saw the dialogue in the Justice League movie, as well as we saw this dialogue in the Justice League trailers. So here's the mother box there. You see the men, the tribes of men, as they're burying it, and he even has a date. He has a date there, 63 AB. And then you see them there burying the mother box, and there's someone talking to someone, and this is Lewis. It seems about not Lewis, Wonder Woman talking to Bruce. It looks like there. So I thought that was really cool to see all the storyboards, and they're just saying that to verify, to show you the authenticity of this storyboard right here. And when I saw that review from Dave the Film Junkie, I could not deny it. I knew this was Zack's work, and I got a lot of other stuff to show you guys. So I might as well show you. Did you, R2, did you get to see the deleted scene? Stop this. Right. Did you get to see the deleted scene of Superman meeting Alfred?
Yeah. Yes, I saw it. I saw it on Facebook.
Right. Man, look. So what it means is that these scenes tell me things. So for me, it told me that Zack had actually finished a cut. He didn't finish the post-production when he left, of course. And he didn't fully, there was need for reshoots in terms of certain scenes, I believe. But I believe he had a lot, like Stephen M. Colbert was saying, he actually had a much more completed work. And it was very elaborately done. And what we actually got was, we got a story. We got the story that we were supposed to get, but it was cut down to almost its bare bones. It's like a skeletal structure of what really Zack wanted to do. Because Zack, Zack tells a story, but he does a lot of elaborations. And so that got me kind of angry. I'm not going to lie to you. I was kind of excited to see it, and yet at the same time I was very disappointed, and it got me as a DCEU fan pretty upset. And I vented. I started to vent. I started to vent a lot, but I did it with John King up on Facebook. He was talking to me. I really vented. I just tripped out, and because first we saw the deleted scene from Warner Brothers where Zack had Superman. Superman was coming in to basically become Superman. He was Clark Kent. He came with Lewis, and he went to get his suit back. And obviously the interesting, it's so much going on there, because remember, Superman hung his cape a certain place. It wasn't in, he wasn't in the ship in Metropolis anymore. He had another place. And we knew that from since Man of Steel. So this was really cool to see him go back there and just come full circle. And so there's moments in this film, there are key moments in this film that were in the trailers that they amped us up in the trailers to see, and we were talking and discussing it and anticipating it. And I assumed that, okay, they went this different route. Fine. I was okay with that. But I was always thinking, okay, well, Zack had an earlier draft, an earlier cut, and they decided, okay, they're going to go this way. But then on reflection of all of that, I'm realizing Zack had a very, very complete cut. Not complete. I mean, the post-production and stuff. But we were actually looking in the trailers at mostly, in fact, all of the stuff that we saw in the trailers were Zack's cuts.
Yeah, there was also that I came across a tweet from Mark Hughes that claimed it was one of those, well, where Mark Hughes is one of those people who have been reporting on the DCU here and there, and he claimed that Zack Snyder was not fired and that he had worked on some edits or some play right through May, which I don't know how the timeline of his departure goes, but something I read I came across a tweet like that when I went through the BatmanNews.com's comment section or something.
Yes,
I just came across it today at one point.
I don't think he was fired. I don't think they would fire him because he did. Yeah, 100% of the principal photography. He wouldn't be fired. You can't. What's he going to do? So, but what I think happened was because his daughter died and he left the project, that's when I think they really just decided, okay, man, we're gonna do, we're gonna get what we want now, right? So I believe because Junkie XL was fired, right?
Yeah,
Junkie was fired, and that should have told us, hey, something's. But I decided, no, man, we're gonna go with it. Let's just go with it. Joss Whedon, he's a good director. Okay. Again, Joss Whedon is a good director. I'm not saying no. I'm just saying, Zack, this is Zack's film, right? This is Zack's film. And what Zack did is superior to what Joss Whedon was doing. Anybody, I think we all agree with that. Everybody, universal, I don't care who you are, everybody can agree, it was Zack's film. So Zack did, of course, he does a much better, much more refined, much more in-depth job. I don't think anybody was disputing that. I still believe this film was Zack's vision that came on the screen. But do I believe that this film was exactly what Zack wanted the fans to see? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. This was a skeleton of a film, and then Warner Brothers comes after the skeleton of a film and then shows us stuff that we wanted to see so we could buy another cut of the film, which I find not honest. Even the advertising wasn't honest, in my opinion. It's like Suicide Squad. They advertised for the Joker, and then they gave you something else. There, they advertised as if this was Zack's blueprints. Everything here is Zack. Oh, yeah, we're getting Zack. Up to the sneak peek was great. And then we got the Heroes trailer, which was not as good. But again, everything is Zack. Everything they used was what Zack actually did, which means Zack, it's like if you can say almost at that point in time, the film was finished, and then they decided they're going to pull out this, pull out that, pull out this, pull out that. No, I just, for the life of me, I don't understand why Warner Brothers would do something like that. Don't you care about the fans? This is about, isn't entertainment, isn't comic books about fans? So you prime up the fans for to see certain things with Batman. We had big discussions on Superman with Alfred. Is that Superman? Is that a Green Lantern? Why would you stir up all this discussion and then don't show that part of the film? That's what I didn't understand. And there's so much meaning to it. You get what I'm saying, R2? There's so much meaning to showing these parts of films. These are important things. I mean, it brings a closure. You already removed the musical director, right? Which I didn't understand why they would do something. Well, I kind of do because but I still say, I've already done my venting. I don't know if you finished venting. I don't know if you're okay with this. I'm processing so I could be more positive and more constructive in what I'm saying. But how am I supposed to build trust between a company when you're doing these sort of not trustworthy things? What am I to expect from you? So the next film is Aquaman, but will you be changing up Aquaman again? Will you be trying to make it, fit into some sort of screening or demographic? What are you doing? Why would you pull out Darkseid from Justice League? Like when we think Justice League, we think the ultimate villain, Darkseid. Why would you do something like that? We know it's been pulled because I just showed you, right? Zach added in his storyboard, right? I showed you evidence. I didn't just tell you. It's not just a rumor anymore. It's facts. So it's like, why would you do things like that? I mean, I could show you scene after scene after scene with Cyborg, right? I'm not saying Zach didn't probably do some kind of alternative version of some of these scenes, but you got all these scenes with Cyborg, right? And yes, Cyborg served his purpose in the movie, but there was more to it. You understand what I'm saying? You could tell a story. You could tell a story to people, right? And it could be fun. It could be interesting, but you leave out details in the story. Details that could it could make the story more interesting for someone who's interested in certain characters of the story. So it's not like, okay, yeah, they give us the essence of what Cyborg was and the importance of him in the movie. They did that, right? But you didn't give us all those nuances of Cyborg. When we look at Cyborg in Throne of Atlantis, right? Cyborg, you see Cyborg portray things out there to the rest of the Justice League, enact scenes, things that happen. And in the movie, Cyborg actually did those things in the cut that Zack Snyder had, right? He projected out stories and he would tell the stories visually, right? We didn't get that. And I'm asking myself, why didn't, this is part of the character. Superman going to find his suit tells us about Superman, the depth of Superman, his journey, everything. Now, I know that this cut, they try to save it so that you wonder, is Superman coming back or not? I get that, but I just don't understand why you would. Do you have an investment in the character or not? Yes, Henry Cavill's face was serious. Yes, Henry Cavill's face, maybe they were thinking, oh, this is going to be more of the emo Superman. Okay, but at the end of the day, the time and the quality of the character Superman I saw in that movie, this only makes it 10, 20 times better. And the fact that Superman actually led out at certain points, he wasn't just helping along, he led out the Justice League. When we look at the behind the scenes footage, he's actually leading them. You see Wonder Woman on his right, his left side. You see the Flash and everybody in the back. Even Batman's in the back of him, and he's looking up at the opposition, and we know it's Steppenwolf, right? And I'm saying to myself, why didn't you allow these scenes to be in the movie? Why did you think? Because it's been too long. Runtime, right? Runtime. I'm like, runtime? Like, what, you thought you had a good enough movie that people would come and see it again and again and again? When I think people need to learn, when you compromise things and you don't go hard, when you compromise, it doesn't always help your situation. And I think exactly. There was a lot of compromise. You got it.
Yeah, those decisions about the runtime and those, they should have made them before they started shooting, before they had the story, because someone else had already told me this, that when they decided to cut the runtime to 1 hour 59 minutes, they should have done that with some kind of different story. They had this story already. They should have let them make the story they had, not try to do what they did.
And yes, it has been a while since we've had a Lord of the Rings kind of length movie, but this is the kind of movie Zack Snyder makes. If he's making a movie of this epic, it's an epic movie of epic proportions, to cut it down, those little paths and subplots of the story take away from that grandeur of the story. You have to let people go through it. Yeah, okay, it might be a 3 hour long film, maybe a 2 hour 40-minute film, or 2 hour 50-minute film. Maybe Zach started out by saying, oh yeah, it's gonna be a simple short little film, but at the end of the day, I do think they agreed with Zach it was going to be short, right? Shorter than Batman v Superman. But the point is, Zack Snyder's 3 films, which are pretty long, they go about 3 hours long, are Watchmen, Batman v Superman, and now Justice League. All 3 films, Warner Brothers just can't learn. They cut the films down. And every time they've cut these films down, the response has not been what they wanted. Yeah. They're lucky with Batman v Superman because it was Batman and Superman, so they got $800 and something million with that, right? Mm. The ultimate cut sold really well, better than Captain America Civil War, right? Yeah. Watchmen flopped. Why did Watchmen flop? Because they cut it up, right?
And I want to see that movie twice.
There you go, right? And Watchmen's a good movie, but again, because they cut up Watchmen, not what Zach wanted to do, they compromised Watchmen, it flopped, right? Because the general audience couldn't follow it. When you look at Justice League, the audience can follow it. It's followable, but it compromises on what Zach was really trying to tell. It's not necessarily that it's all there. The story's there, right? BVS, the story was there too, which it was a little bit more circular. But the story in Justice League is there. But now the edginess, the gravitas, the depth of humanity that usually it had, it doesn't have as much. And people sense that. Right. And also it wasn't completed. It wasn't a completed work. We look at it, we know the CGI wasn't finished. We knew that the certain special effects weren't done like they wanted it done. And I don't know what I'm going to get on the digital release, but I'll still value it. But I can't call this my ultimate cut like BVS. I can't call this my director's cut like Watchmen. I can't call it that. Right?
Yeah, just an extended edition.
Right. I don't want an extended edition. I want a director's cut. I'm take this with the bonus scenes. It's basically going to be the same film with bonus scenes on the end. I don't have a problem with that. But I cannot sit back and say, oh, no, I am satisfied with what I got and I don't want anything else. That would be dumb. They already showed that Zack Snyder had a cut. So he did have a cut. And I was saying all along, he had a draft. He had an earlier draft, showed friends and family, and they were trying to execute. No. He had a cut. He had a completed cut. It wasn't finished post-production wise. You know, they still had some post-production things to do. But for the most part, he had a completed cut. And now I had to eat my words on that. Now I have to eat my words on Darkseid. I have to eat my words on the Black Suit. I don't have a problem with that. The thing about me is always about truth. Once I see facts, you got me on your side. I'm not going to dispute. I'm not going to argue. And the thing about it, though, is I'm looking at this and I'm saying we were blaming the fans I was blaming the fans, at least, for not supporting this present cut of Justice League in the theaters. But now I got to turn around and say I can't say anything to them because they were right. Right. I was wrong. It was still a good movie. Don't get me wrong. It was a solid movie. They did well enough to get a solid movie. I enjoy it. All right. But it's not what that's not what Zach wanted to give us. It's not what he wanted to give us. And the thing about it is he already did everything already. It's not like he wasn't finished. So when Whedon came in, he kind of helped him along. This is what the direction they went. No, he finished most of the stuff. And it was just the post-production and some editing and some reshoots to do because of the Wonder Woman stuff, right? And even though some of the Wonder Woman stuff he took into account. So it really, that does not sound good, man. It doesn't sound good for Warner Brothers. I'm trying my best to be positive towards them because I don't want the company to fall under. Because the alternative solution is something I'm not really interested in. I don't want a whole bunch of Marvel movies. You know, that's the worst of two evils. So I'm not a Marvel hater or anything. I'm just not interested in those kinds of movies. I just don't know why. You might like a Marvel movie. What do you think?
Interest in Marvel is pretty much that I'm not gonna watch it when they come, or where they premiere. I'm more, but because they make money without me either way. But I will watch them at some point, maybe a few months later. I stream them from somewhere, download, torrent them, or just rent and watch with friends.
That's cool, man. I think Thor kind of got me disgusted. I was like tired. I think Thor burnt me out a bit because I don't know, man. I wasn't interested in Thor, and then I went and watched it, and that kind of turned me off a bit. So I think that's what it is. But I liked Guardians of the Galaxy too. It was good. I enjoyed the crap out of that thing. So I guess there's a place for those movies. It's just I'm not interested in them this year. I mean, I love Black Panther, the character. I like what they did with him. But in terms of movie wise, I don't know, man. I was enthusiastic about it. That was the movie I wanted to see this year. And then I saw a trailer, and then I saw a scene, you know, a clip, and I was just like, I'm just not that interested anymore. Because it just runs around the same beats, you know, as what I've seen. So I really want DC to do well. I want the DCU to do well. But I don't know. I don't know what their plan is. It seems as though they're trying to move away from what Zack Snyder has started to do. And apparently, I don't know what they're trying. I don't even know what they're going to do with Aquaman. It's like it's all up in the air. Because the thing that I liked about the DCEU was how they stressed on real situations with real people. It could be funny. It could be serious. I didn't mind, but just make it real to me. Not just this. And I thought they put a lot of work into what they do.
Yeah, that's when there has been some talk about tones and other things that a major criticism I have seen against the DCEU in favor of MCU have or sometimes been that there's just one tone about things, and then there are scenes that are like this, and there are the second scene that are like this. There was some criticism I came across with X-Men Apocalypse, for example, where they had that on one board there was the part maybe how X-Men were doing casual lifestyle, and then there was the Magneto storyline, which was really damn dark. And like some people have the complaint that I came across with it was something that they couldn't understand, that at 1 minute we're like this, then we're like that, then second we're like that. But that's life is like that. Like currently we are having a good conversation right now. Somewhere out there could be happening something that is completely different than what is. It's not right connected to this situation, but in a larger scheme of things, and in what could be a story going in our world, it's not something that should be exactly the same as this moment. Or
Exactly. I agree with you. It's like they say, oh, there's tonal shifts inside of the movie, and I'm like, what are you talking about? There are different people inside of the movie. So you may have moments when you have a horror-like atmosphere. It's almost like the movie goes through different genres. And apparently some people, they can't deal with that. They have to deal, they think they're going in to see a comic book movie, so it must be this way. And I think a lot of people are programmed to think that these movies should have certain beats. It should go a certain way. And there's not room in there for creativity. So when they talk about tonal shifts, you know, Magneto and the Apocalypse guy, I forgot what his name is. They are dark, and yet you kind of have a normal, ordinary beat here. But when you go to them, it's very dark. No, that's life, like you said. And they're different personalities, different people. Thor, Ragnarok had different people with different beats. We had when we went across to Hela, it was kind of dark. When we reached to Thor, it was more comical and light. They're different beats. So I believe that sometimes I understand the criticisms, but I just think that people need to be open-minded to something different than what they are familiar with. Well, I think maybe I'm not. Maybe it's just personal preference. Maybe different people have different personal preferences and things.
Yeah, I had a friend over. Sorry. Joo. Tuu vaikka käymään tuossa torstaina uudelleen. Joo. Okay. Moi. Yeah. You can put the volume back on your side.
My bad. You're multilingual or bilingual?
Malta. My native language is Finnish, and there's English, which is something I learned from. I have learned from by watching movies and playing video games. And as I live in Finland, there was the mandatory Swedish. Som kan du säga.
Cool. You could speak 3 languages. That's crazy. I can only speak 1 good. Not really well. That's crazy, man. That's dope. Yeah, so I wanted to talk a little bit about the digital release. I want to talk about it, but we already. So you and I agree we need to get the director's cut as soon as possible. Absolutely, absolutely. What do you think about the digital release that's coming out?
Well, well, when I first went to see the movie, it was okay in my mind at that point. And then later on we got all the what wasn't in the movie and what should have been in the movie, and of course it left a bitter taste in our mouths, and because of that, looking back at the movie we watched, it didn't seem as great as it was then. Then now it's getting the digital release, and what is in it, what won't be in it, it's kind of conflicting. Yeah.
Well, I'm definitely, I can tell you, I'm definitely buying the digital release. I'm definitely buying it. I want to see what other bonus scenes in there. So I definitely want to get that. And I'm one of those people who absolutely loved the theatrical cut for what it represented. And I still stand by that. I think it still represents the twinning of two different worlds coming together. Now, it didn't really happen in the way that we would want it to be, but Warner Brothers had their idea of what they wanted to do. Again, I'm not mad at them for the idea they wanted to do. I just think that you don't push. You have a particular director, right, doing a particular thing. You could establish your idea after that director's finished doing his thing, with a new director. But I don't think you should be, and you've had a history of messing with that director, and just you're trying to do something, but it does not happen. They have tried a number of times to start a cinematic universe. It didn't succeed. This is the guy that got it for you. He got it for you. He was making money with you. You weren't making the money you wanted to, but Man of Steel made money. And then after that, Batman v Superman made you money. You compromised with Batman v Superman, and you compromised with Justice League. All right? Some people said they tampered with Suicide Squad. David Ayer said that was his movie. But I liked actually Suicide Squad, the theatrical cut, not so much the extended cut, even though I have the extended cut. I like the theatrical cut better. But when it comes to Justice League, man, this is Zack Snyder's work, man. The guy put out something. He had his ideas of what needed to happen. You don't just go and mess with what he's doing. I know you do your screenings and whatever else you do, but you don't go and mess with it. It seems as though we were trying to optimize how much money they could get out of Snyder's cut. So he had the really good cut, and they liked it, and they was like, how can we optimize this now to make the most amount of money? And that's where they went wrong. That's where they went wrong. You let art be art. And interestingly, when you watch the movie Snow, Steam, and Iron, I get this is exactly what Zack Snyder was saying. And you look at the. You didn't watch it yet?
Yeah, I need to put a pin on it and watch it at some point. You're on mute. You're on mute.
Oh, sorry. I said I can get the link for you. It's only 4 minutes long. I can actually pull it up for you right now. So it's a really cool movie, but Zack Snyder always says something else inside of his movies. So you should really check it out. And it's interesting, the things that are now coming up to the fore. You see Eno saying certain things like never compromise, and he puts Rorschach there, even though Rorschach died at the end of Watchmen, but he died believing what he believed, right? It's interesting that I have to go check my comment section. I don't even know what's going on in the comment section, but it's interesting that Zach was speaking about this. And I just remember Junkie XL got fired. Why would the way how they did it unceremoniously, just kick the guy to the curb after all that work. And I'm just saying, that's the problem with the artists. That's the problem with people who really devote themselves to art. When you get into a commercial industry where people are really thinking about the bottom end getting dollars, sometimes that is compromised. And Zach, he's an artist, man. And I believe that I'm not saying they let go of Zach. I don't think that ever happened. But I do believe when Zach was out of the picture, that's when they really went. They went hard, man, at what they wanted to make happen with what Zach had. And but they knew that it couldn't be so obvious because it would change the tonality of the movie. But they really wanted to shift into a particular direction. DC also seemed to have been backing that. I remember the president of DC saying, Diane Nielsen saying that, you know, while they don't necessarily see what Zach was doing exactly going in the direction they would have preferred to go, because Warner Brothers gives people creative license to do certain things that, you know, that's cool. So I get the feeling that even Jeff Johns, he's a DC rep, right? He's really the guy for DC, because he's a DC director. Don't get it twisted. People are like blaming Jeff Johns and stuff. Look, Jeff Johns was neck and neck with Zach. You go and you watch at the behind the scenes footage. Zach's there, Jeff Johns right next to him, right? Yeah. They worked in tandem. But it's just that Zach was the guy who was really mostly getting the final decision on things. And then when Zach left, now we ain't got really no head. You understand what I'm saying? It's really Whedon's there, yeah, but he's not the director really. He's kind of brought in to do script. He was really mainly there to do his script thing and then direct the scenes for the script that he wrote. That was really what Whedon was brought in for. And what happens is Whedon ends up doing more, not extensive reshoots like people are saying, but he ends up doing more than he was brought in there to do. So, and that's because WB's trying to get that lighter thing that they're looking for, that balance that they want. And they don't understand. I understand it's your product. It's your stuff. Zach's hired to do your stuff. I understand. You got the license. It's your thing. I get it. But you got to trust the guy that you hired to do your thing. You know, and that's the problem that WB, they're so hard-headed with this. I understand what you want to do. You want to sell toys. You want to sell merchandise. You want to give the DC characters that we see in the animated series and in comic books. I get it. But you can't sacrifice the guy who's finished doing his story and try to make that happen in that. You get what I'm saying? That's their problem. It's like trying to take an elephant and make it into a mouse. It can't happen. It's done already, you know? And it's frustrating to me because it's like, I'm a fan and I look at these things and I know what Zach is trying to do. He's actually trying to make the characters that you know from the comic books and so on, it make them real to you, that they're real, they symbolize real things. And it's like WB's like, no, we want the kiddies to come in and we want the whole families, and they're just thinking money. We want like Marvel, you know, like Marvel. And then Zach's like, no, like, listen, what, dudes, it's about the meaning behind these things. We want things to last for time. And they're like, time? What are you talking about? It's like when they didn't understand what Patty Jenkins was saying about Wonder Woman. They couldn't get it for the life of them that she's going across the field like Wonder Woman does because she cares about the people on the other side of the field. It's not because of an enemy. And they're like, who's she shooting down? Who's she shooting down? And I'm like, she's like, you just don't get it. You don't get Wonder Woman. And they're not supposed to get it, but I'm just saying, you know, that's the thing. So you have this artist trying to explain to people who don't really, it's hard because it's like, how do you mix art with business when the business people you're selling your product to or you're selling the idea to don't get it, right? And you have to really sell it. And so like Patty was able to do it, man. She got it done, you know. And I'm hoping that these directors, we can back them still because it's hard with a studio, you know, even though you may come from an indie environment like Waiko Watiti, whatever. You know, Watiti, I'm sure he tried to sell his idea. He got some leeway, but you know, he still was pigeonholed into a certain, you know what I'm saying? It's just what it is. And I'm just hoping that DC's not trying to go that formulaic route like Marvel is. That's not what they do. They don't do that. They're the people of ideas, and they're the people to challenge you, you know, moving forward. I don't know what Tommy Emmerich they have in mind, but I'm behind the directors. Wong and Sandberg, I'm behind the directors and whatever their ideas are for the film. And if Warner Bros. Hire them and they finished 100% of principal photography, I don't want to hear that from Warner Bros. Let them do what they're doing. You reach that far down the line with these people and you did not correct them then Why are you trying to correct them when they're really near the finish line with their product? You don't do that, man. You know, it's just, man, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. But I know they're trying to get that balance between comedy and seriousness. Sometimes they want their characters to have a variety, so they can be funny, they can be light, they can be dark, they can be funny and wacky and light, they can be dark if they need to be. I get what they want to do, but this just is totally counterproductive, because you come and you sell an advertisement this way, and then you just change it all up and you go another direction. You know what I'm saying? The tone's more or less kept, but the thing's not even finished. The product's not even finished. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. But I am disappointed, like you are. But I'm still buying the digital release because there's just so much in that stuff that Zack Snyder did. I'm buying the digital release because of Zack Snyder. Some people really hate Joss Whedon right at this point in time. And I'm like, why would you hate Joss Whedon? I mean, yeah, he had Junkie XL off the project and that stuff. And some people feel like Whedon, because Whedon was there and they already hate Whedon because he's Marvel. This is the crazy thought. They're thinking, man, Whedon, man, if Whedon wasn't there, we would Justice League would just wait on the back burner, come up probably next year or something like that, and Zack would finish his vision or whatever. Because they everything that's associated with some of the product that's associated with Whedon is not finished. We saw the CG not finished on Superman. So people really just and then Whedon went and liked a comment about Steppenwolf on Twitter, and that just, I remember Dave the Film Junkie, he just lost his mind with that. He just lost his mind. He just got mad. And from then on in, you know, and he was holding it back, but he just went ballistic. But for me, the point where I lost my mind was when they came with this deleted scene with Superman inside of the whatever he is, his Fortress of Solitude, whatever you want to call it, and he's looking at his suit, and I'm saying to myself, this is there, and why didn't you show this? Why?
That actually, now that I think about it, that the suit was in the scout ship, which was in Metropolis. So if the suits were there all the time, did Starlabs never come across them? I just realized that.
There's a lot of detail to this stuff. So the scout ship has different sections. There's the Genesis section, there's the command ship center, and then there's a number of places where you can put your command key into the ship. There are different positions. Some of them are inside the ship, some of them are outside the ship, etc. Right? Yeah. So it's not the same scout ship he goes to get his suits. That scout ship, which was the one in which I believe, I'm assuming from the prequels, Kara-El walked out of, right? That scout ship is the one he activated, which caused General Zod to come to Earth. And his father, the command key he put in there, had his father's consciousness, which you remember the father imprinting the command key and putting it in? So that's the scout ship that crashed in Metropolis. However, at the end of Man of Steel, Superman says, "You will not know where I hang my cape." You remember he said that to General Swanwick?
Yep, I do.
Right. So it means, therefore, that Superman has another place where he can get his suit and where he actually hangs out. So since that 2 years, he has another place. So that means there's probably another scout ship, maybe?
Or there's the part of the scout from the original scout ships that was cut away and put somewhere else. That could also work.
Because Kryptonians, they don't just go by themselves with one scout ship to a new planet. They go with multiple scout ships and probably even world engines. So he must have found other scout ships that were probably lying underneath the ice along with that scout ship, or maybe in the area of that scout ship. That's possible.
Well, that's a theory.
Yeah, it's a theory. I mean, I'm just speculating here, but I know there's something else he's in. And it seems as though, I don't know if it seems as though the scout ship makes suits, just like how their Kryptonian stuff kind of crystallizes things in the fluid and just kind of crystallizes things and makes things happen. And it seems as though he had, when you saw the scout ship there, you saw the Kryptonian suit, then you saw the Kryptonian spacesuit, that is. Then you saw the Kryptonian wear, the general Kryptonian wear, which is the black suit, right? So the black suit is really general Kryptonian wear. On Krypton, that's what they generally wore. and they wore things over it. And then you have,
yeah, there was also that other kind of like fashion theory also, that back in how many years was that? 20,000 years ago, when the scout ship originally landed on Earth, it was fashion that the costumes were blue, red, and yellow, and the new fashion, which when Krypton exploded, everyone turned to black. That was also one theory that I get.
Well, the thing about the theory, though, if Krypton exploded and it turned to black, remember Jor-El was on Krypton and he had the same black undersuit. Remember when he dove into the to get the Codex? He was wearing the Superman black, right? Yep. So Krypton, if you look at Krypton, you can go ahead and go back and watch Krypton. The color schemes that they have, even the animals on Krypton, are kind of monochromatic. They're all one color. You ever notice that? Even when you look at the dragon that he was riding on, it's brown all the way through, and their red sun makes it so that everything's kind of monochromatic. So they don't really have bright popping colors like red and yellow, and they have blues, you know, blacks, grays, that kind of thing. They don't have oranges. You don't see oranges there. You notice that Krypton's kind of monochromatic. So I don't know if it's because of the red sun that they have that makes them have that color and therefore perceive color a certain way. But when he reached Earth, you will notice that his suit is blue, which is like, if you look at the color of Earth from the sky, it looks blue and white, right? So his suit represents the Earth, you know, the blue and the red cape and the red S and the yellow sun, you know. So I think that's maybe because Supergirl also has those colors, right? She also has those colors. So maybe some understanding of Kryptonians, I don't know. I really can't tell you because it's kind of strange to see. You might be right, though. At some point in time, before they explored other worlds, maybe that was the color of their suits. Who knows? I don't know. That's a good question. And maybe when they started to sort of genetically breed them a certain way, they started wearing these dark colors with the Codex. Maybe that's it. That's a good theory. Yeah, I don't know. That's a good one. It's a great question. But as I was saying, you know, in that scene where he goes and he watches that, we know he's watching the blue suit, right? He's watching the blue suit, and it's a callback to Man of Steel when his father was introducing him to the ideals, and then he showed the suit. So I thought, you know, to me it's not critical to the story or the plot, but it's a kind of like, it tells us more about Superman. You know, it tells us more about Superman. And you gotta love the Hans Zimmer theme. Boom, boom, boom.
Yes.
Boom. My gosh.
I know. That theme is amazing.
Amazing.
I remember
I miss that Man of Steel theme. I miss it. Let's go to some questions. I know there are people in the chat section, and I'm sure they want to hear what we got to say. All you have to do is you can click link on the, I don't know if you can see that, but a link on the corner of the Hangout, and you'll get to the chat section. And there's lots of people talking in the chat section right now. We got Urahara, Mary Wilcox, Brian Jackson, Mary W. Meir, John Wonder. Oh, everybody's up in here. Nerdarati. We got all kinds of people. Again, guys, if you want to join us in the Hangout, you can. I can post the Hangout link again. Dave Ethan and Marcus Harrell. All right. Let me just go through some of your comments here. So Marcus Harrell says, "That's bull, man." I guess that's concerning I guess the home release. The home release, I would suggest to each and every one of you, if you can, purchase the home release. All right. I have mixed feelings about Warner Brothers, but at the same time, I think you should purchase a digital copy of this movie. Why? Two reasons. The first reason is I want you to remember the moments. It's controversial, but it's still a coming together of certain ideas and themes that we had a DC director and we had a Marvel director, and something special about that, in my opinion. It's bittersweet to me because while Warner Brothers and DC weren't trying to, they couldn't anyway. They couldn't really change the overall tone of Zack Snyder's movie. They really damn near tried to take off the edge from it and also take off all that extra meat on it. So I feel like it's a stripped down Zack Snyder film. There's all the Zack Snyderisms in there, and Whedon did try to emulate Zack Snyder's style to some degree and how he does things. But at the end of the day, it's not like having a full-fledged, hardcore, full of love inside of you Zack Snyder film to the fans. It felt like they took some of the fandom out of that film, you know. And I think they were trying to appease a wider group of audiences, and they tried to pander to the core DCEU fans, not understanding who they were and what they were about, and that these people love comics. And if you love comics, you got to give tributes back to the resurrection of Superman. You got to give tributes to the core of what Superman represents in the DCEU. I came into DCU because of Superman. Zack Snyder. I wasn't interested in Superman before that, right? Yeah. Go ahead, R2. There, right. He took a step out for a minute. Right. So let's go through it. Dave Ethan says, hey there, good to see you. Good to see you, Dave Ethan. If you want to be in the hangout, let me just post the link again for the hangout. Join us, man. Join us in the link. Here's the hangout right here. Boom. I'm here with R2. And it's really awesome to talk with him right now because we get a constructive conversation. We're not trying to be negative, but where we need to speak up on things, we speak up. Notoriety Magazine, what do you think WB motivation was? Like I said, I think they were trying to go towards what the cartoons were, the animated series, how the comic books cover a lot more, but how we know the CW somewhat. They're trying to bring, like I said, they're trying to bring the DC properties together and uniformity. That's what they're trying to do. And so what you find is that DC itself, like I said, the president of DC, Diane Neilson, she sees things a little bit different to how Zack Snyder may have pitched something. And so they're trying to get all their properties to line up a bit. And so in so doing, the problem with what they did is I think, like I heard some people say, it's not that Jeff Johns doesn't like what Zack is doing. You know, the people were saying that, it's Jeff Johns' fault that this happened, and Jeff Johns and Joss Whedon. I'm not saying Jeff Johns didn't have a part to play in this, and John Berg, but I'm saying that Jeff Johns and John Berg, they've been working with Zack Snyder for a long while. Yes, Jeff Johns is mostly an advisor. People say that Jeff Johns is overlooked or whatever. That's family dynamics as far as I'm concerned. The thing about it is Jeff Johns is an advisor, okay? And Jeff Johns, there was nobody really taking the reins of power, really. We really were absent of a director. Joss Whedon was in there to fill in certain things, but he wasn't really a director, which is why he didn't even get director credit. All right, and he lost a lot of battles with WB as well. He wanted to have a little bit more humor with the guy trash talking Batman, and that was cut from the film. So the executives wanted to keep a certain kind of way of doing things. They didn't want the tone to be, they didn't want the tone to be all over the place. And for the most part, they kept the tone of the movie. Their problem was, and I keep on repeating it, is that in trying to get a low runtime and trying to get the movie, especially towards the end of the movie, to be lighter, they cut out a lot of stuff that gives the movie gravity. Remember, there's one thing to tell a story. I mean, it's a fantastic story still. I could find things in there. But I believe Zack would have flushed out more stuff. I believe Zack would have given more gravitas to stuff. And we just talked about the deleted scene. I think Zack, not only would he have done it, but he did that. And then they removed that stuff. Some people go as far with hyperbole to say this is a Frankenstein of a movie because they chopped it up, sew it back up, sew it up. I wouldn't go that far because I'm not trying to talk out of my emotions, but quite frankly, they sold themselves short because of the advertising campaign that they gave. As I told you before, this film feels a lot like Suicide Squad. Wonder Woman was very consistent in what it advertised, and what it advertised, it provided and some. This movie was not consistent in what it advertised. They rolled Zack Snyder. They advertised Zack Snyder, right? And then they gave you Zack Snyder, but not Zack Snyder at the same time. They gave you a version of Zack Snyder, in my opinion, that is bare bones. It's bare bones. They touched on this, they touched on that. Where Zack would have more elaborated on this and elaborated on that. It's not that they didn't tell a story and they didn't tell Zack's story. They told an abridged version of Zack's story. It's like you pick up a novel and then you pick up the abridged version of the novel. It's like you pick up a television, you watch the television version of, as Zack would paint it, of Watchmen. The television version, it's all there, but the edginess, the sharpness, the delving into certain aspects of the character is not there. Then you go and you watch Watchmen, the theatrical cut of Watchmen. It's all there. The story's there. But then when you go and you see the director's cut, you get that flushed out story. You get that real stuff. Batman v Superman theatrical cut, the story's all there. It's there. But when you see Batman v Superman, the ultimate cut, you get a masterpiece, right? Theatrical cut's solid, but you get a masterpiece. Now, which does Warner Brothers want? Do they want a masterpiece or do they just want a solid film? Right? And that's the thing. If you're striving for excellence, you cannot compromise. And that is my point. I'm not trying to be negative. I flushed out all my negativity on John King. I was using expletives. I went crazy, man, because I was pretty angry. But at the end of the day, now I'm sobered up and I have to speak on a platform to multiple people. I try to be as constructive and as logical in assessing things, right? R2 Lemonin, let me see what my brother's doing here. Hold on a second. Any thoughts, R2?
Sorry, I missed some about this. I was rechecking my copy of Watchmen and checking which version I owned. I haven't watched this for a while. 2 hours 42 minutes. Is this a theatrical version? What about the long version? But yeah, on what you said about the WMB, what Warner Bros. Advertising, I think, Zack Snyder movie and giving us a bright Zack Snyder movie, that you might have said they were pulling a double duty on building him up as a scapegoat.
Maybe that's what they were using him as, but I think that they were trying to show and emphasize to everybody this was going to be Zack's movie. This was going to be Zack's movie. They were trying to emphasize that because they wanted to get people to buy into the fact that it's Zack's movie for the base. I think they were worried mostly about the base. They held back a long time from having the critics assess the movie. That was the first thing. That showed their nervousness towards what they were about to put out. And remember, Warner Brothers gets a lot of negative press. Like everybody's gunning for them right now. And they give Disney a pass right now, and that's what it is. So they're under scrutiny like crazy. So they're trying to make the best decision they possibly could. And the problem with this is when you have almost like it's like a headless horseman. The head of the horse, he's gone. He's got to move off. So what happens is the people who work under that horse, they want the horse to go in the direction the head of the horse was going, but then the company that the director has been working with, they want a shift because they feel they've got success with a product called Wonder Woman before. So they thought that they could use they could use something like that and apply it to this. But the problem with it was two things. One, all principal photography was done. So this movie was set. It was going in the direction it was going anyway. So what they tried to do was they say, well, we can't just, they were smart with it somewhat. They decided, well, we can't really change this story and we can't change. It's just way too late to do all of that. This ship has sailed. So what we had to do now is we're going to try and lighten up aesthetically. And what we're going to do is cut out stuff that we think is too dark. So we're going to cut out this, but they never really thought it all the way through. So when they started sewing it back up and they thought they got it. And then the other thing was the pressure on the animators now with this new case scenario and this new look they're trying to go with, that they're trying to slowly move into. The problem with that was now we got to get this done, right? We got to find a way to get this done. And they thought they had it done, but the animators didn't get that stuff done either. So it was like you were in a no man's land at a certain point. This movie was going all Zack. You could feel the Zackness through it. And then all of a sudden, as it's coming towards the end, you're feeling this kind of light, kind of unrealistic kind of feel as you're going, and you're like, what's going on here again? But you're still buying into it because you're into the story. But you can tell by when you look at it 2, 3, 4, 5 times, you was like, nah, man, this thing it's not quite there, man. They should have spent more time on it. That's why some people are saying, man, they should have put it off to the next year. But then if you put it off to the next year, it's irrelevant because it was for a certain period of time. So my thing was, if they had just stuck to the plan, which was do the reshoots, do your reshoots that you had to do, right? And don't try and just chop things out of the movie. Because tell me, R2, let me get your opinion on this. Do you think that scene that has been deleted with Superman going back to get his suit and even Superman going to see Alfred, do you think that could have been fit into the movie and we still could have had that moment where we were not sure that Superman would come back in time? Because we already knew he was alive, right? So what's the problem with seeing him get his suit? And what's the problem with him visiting Alfred, which would have connected the lineal dots to tell you how he got to them? What was the problem with that? Why that doesn't, how long would that take? 2, 3 minutes tops? You add 2, 3 minutes to your runtime. Why couldn't they keep that stuff in? I don't understand that.
Neither do I. Yeah, neither do I. In my opinion, I guess it's something like this. That how do I put this? We would see that he went to get his costume. We would see that he went to see Alfred, fulfilling the anticipation at who was Alfred talking to, and that would explain how he knew to come to Russia. Otherwise, would have been listening and finding them. But ultimately, it would have built up to that point. And I don't know if there are some people talked about that when the Justice League was fighting Steppenwolf, and there would have been a second, a few second cuts there that showed Superman coming or something approaching, and then when Superman did eventually arrive or show up, that would have been built up. That would have also filled into the arc that Zack was building, and that would have and the Superman's arrival would have been earned. In now retrospect, thinking back how it was shown in the movie, Superman just magically showed up like a Deus Ex Machina.
Exactly. And again, I'm not knocking it because I enjoyed it. When he showed up on time. I'm just saying that you could have included these moments in there and still have that doubt as to him coming. We know he would be on his way. It would have been a little bit different in the sense that we don't know if Superman, well, we would have known he was on his way because remember he talked with Lewis and he said, Bruce. So he knew he had to go. So anyhow you take it, we would have known. I think what they would have, the only thing that would have probably been different is we wouldn't have known what suit he would have appeared up in there with them with, because we didn't see him with the suit until that moment. And even then it was a fantastic moment. Yes. But at the same time, I think if he went to, we knew he was going to see the suit and then we see him show up with Alfred. I think it's so spectacular and grand. It's the grandness of the situation that I found lacking. That grandscape that Zack Snyder has, I found it lacking in the latter end of the movie, especially. I love the callback to Superman where he goes dun 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 and all of that. I like that but still at the same time, I have a feeling if you had the, yeah, it's corny as hell, but I kind of liked it because at the point in time when he came, but the the moment, if that was a Man of Steel moment, like what they had in the sneak peek, oh my gosh. Anyway, let me entertain some more of the questions here, and R2, you can also answer the questions. I'm just reading off a couple others.
Okay, I'm looking.
We have here. Dave Ethan says, hey, I want to be on the Hangout. You want to be on the Hangout? Just join the link. There's a link here, Dave Ethan. So there's a link. You can go to the link. It's right at the bottom. He's arguing with Mary Wilcox. Yeah. So yeah, you can just click on the link and you can get into the group that way. So please join that way. And let's see what else we got. I'm way behind, but we'll try. Nerdarati Magazine says downloading Hangout. Awesome, Nerdarati. You can also join the Hangout if you want. W. Mir says exactly. W. Mir says, of course, he was working 7 months on post-production. That's Zack Snyder. That's right. W. Mir says, nah, they won't change Aquaman. Walter Hamada is good friends with James Wan. And Walter Hamada also comes from New Line, so that should be interesting. I see they're bringing in some New Line people. Nerdarati Magazine says correct. W. Mir says right about Aquaman, Nerdarati Magazine. And he says James Wan has complete control. I sure hope so. W. Mir says right. W. Mir says the more I think about it, I really do think the original opening with the history lesson would have been a better, more epic opening to Justice League. That's true. It would have been more epic, man. But at the same time, I'm not knocking Joss Whedon for the beginning because it sets the tone for hope in the story. But right now, I want a director's cut so I can see what Zack Snyder intended to do with the openings and so on. I don't know what the opening would have been for Zack Snyder, so I'm not even trying to pretend like I know what the opening would have been. I just want to know what Zack Snyder would have done to open that film. That's what. Because Zack Snyder just, oh man, I love his style. Nerdarati Magazine, their desire was to copy Marvel and get to $1 billion plus club. Yeah, because they thought it had a movie that would satisfy everyone, Marvel fans and DC fans. That's what they tried to do with Suicide Squad as well. But it backfired because the core DC fans didn't like it. Well, they liked it, but they knew Zack was going to do something better. That's probably what it was. Brian Jackson said, yes, it was. Nerdarati Magazine says, yes. Brian Jackson says, I was a little heartbroken. Yeah, well, I'm disappointed right now, but I'm still buying the cut that's there because I want a personal cut of this movie. W. Mir says, nah, no studio approves a script that is 3 hours long. They knew what Zack was doing. They need to approve movies that are 3 hours long. They need Zack. You need to do that, man. Longer is better. Okay, we look at a Batman v Superman Ultimate Cut. That 3 hour long cut is good, man. It's solid. Not solid. It's a masterpiece. So why is it you won't put a 3 hour cut out there, especially if it makes sense and it's following and it's exciting to watch it and all these special effects and all these things you have to see with these characters? W. Mir says, for those who brought the digital, did they fix the CGI? That's what I want to know too. If those animators who were doing the work, if they just, oh, we're done, and they just walked away. John Wonder, there was no desire to copy Marvel. Marvel doesn't own color and lightheartedness in movies. DC did this route way before Marvel Universe. But, John Wonder, just to add to your point, it was, I believe, one of the CEOs for Warner Brothers that said that Marvel can do their thing, but we as DC, we will keep on doing what is DC. So they did acknowledge, and there was an acknowledgement that they were trying to copy Marvel in certain aspects with these characters. Okay. And there was a Marvelish like feeling coming down, especially to the end of the movie, not so much throughout the movie, but coming down to the end of the movie was a Marvelish like action sequence, and everything was kind of Marvel-like. If you're really being honest, they did try to copy the good aspects of Marvel, but it doesn't work for them. And they've tried to do lighthearted movies before. They did Batman and Robin. They did Green Lantern. Superman Returns wasn't really that lighthearted. It was pretty heavy in certain respects. But again, they tried to go the sort of romantic Christopher Reeve sort of way, and it didn't work, right? They need grounded movies. The people who support DC support grounded movies. Suicide Squad did well because it was a grounded movie. And David Ayer was all about grounded movie. It was kind of funny, but at the end of the day, it was grounded. Now, I'm not saying that Justice League was a comedy fest. It wasn't comedy, but Zack Snyder makes it his job to keep films as real and realistic as possible. And when you kind of play around with that to try and get a film to be lighter, that's where you kind of compromise things. Not to the significant extent that I wouldn't say it's a good movie. No, but it's still at the same time, if I know Zack Snyder got something out there, I want to see that because it was his movie. You know what I'm saying? If this was any other director's movie where they don't go for that kind of realism and that kind of directness and even that edginess, it'll be fine. But this is a Zack Snyder movie you're talking about. You don't take the edge off a Zack Snyder movie. You don't take the realism and the groundedness out of a Zack Snyder movie. You just don't do that. And they did it some, especially coming down to the end. Brian Jackson. That's why I like your channel, because you're big enough to say you're wrong. Oh, man, dude, I was wrong, dude. I'm not even trying to play around with that. But I go by facts. I don't just go by rumors. You know what I'm saying? WMU says, exactly. Why copy Marvel? It's so dumb. WMU says, of course, Zach had a cut 7 months of post-production. 7 months of post-production. But didn't he finish rapping last year, the year before last year, 2016? He finished, I think he had a rap on it then. And I didn't know it was 7 months. I thought it was less than 7 months. Oh, okay. And Mary Wilcox says, what does she say? I don't even know what she says. So many of you, man. Okay. She says Zod's scout ship, perhaps. Oh, you mean the scout ship that Superman comes out of? Oh, interesting. Zod didn't have a scout ship. He came with a world engine. There were two world engines that divided. One went into the Pacific Ocean. The other one stayed there. And the one that went into the Pacific Ocean was destroyed. The one that stayed there, it was sucked into the Phantom Zone when the plane crashed into it with the Kryptonian scout, the Kryptonian ship that Superman came in. So I don't think there's any other ships there. So I don't think it's Zod. Zod don't have no scout ship. I don't think. But you make an interesting point. Zod landed with a ship. That's right. He did land with a little ship, a little bug-like looking ship. And then he took the big Kryptonian ship. So maybe that's what you're talking about. I just thought about it. Yeah, Zod had this little ship that he came with there with. Interesting. Brian Jackson.
If I recall.
Yeah, R2.
Yeah. Go to Brian when I'm done. That ship that Zod had to go to the actual scout ship, was that one of the smaller ships that came from Black Zero? That Black Zero was the world engine ship's name. That went from that they had that. Like every spaceship has those smaller ships that they come out of that. Is it what we?
So that small ship is what took Kal-El up to the world engine. That's what Feora and they came in. It was a little ship like that.
Yeah, that ship. Yeah. Was that?
So when it landed by the Kryptonian ship that Kal-El had found, he didn't go with the little ship. He went with the big Kryptonian ship. So I don't know if he put the little ship into the big Kryptonian ship. I doubt it. Which means Superman.
Yeah.
Superman might have gotten that little ship. I just dawned on me. So that's very good observation by Mary Wilcox. So she could have taken that ship and went with it. So it's just interesting. I didn't think about that. I don't know if that's the case, but there's a lot of possibilities. That's why I would love to see Zach's cut, because it would reveal a little bit more. You remember in the promotion for this digital release, we saw Superman coming, the doors open, just like with when in Man of Steel, the doors open and he's coming out. So it could be the same ship, same scout ship, but just another one. That's my thoughts on it, possibly. I don't know how he found another one, but that would be cool. I would love to know all about that. See, these are the things. You can't take these things out of the movie, man. We as fans, we like that stuff, man. We like that stuff.
Yeah, and when you remove shit and move those things from the movie, we just give more things for people to complain
Exactly.
about. Cinema Sins is gonna make a big hissy fit about it. Screen Junkies is gonna make another honest trader when they're gonna say but somehow something happened and when some, let's say, What Culture is gonna make another article about plot holes or some other things that are going to the movie, they're gonna do this long explanation about how things go, and then add that little add dot or something like that to make it completely moot.
I know, but still, at the same time, I'm saying I love when Zach explains these things. That's what I like about it, and I think the people who actually are the core that drive the merchandise and the sales for these movies, the core DCEU fans, they're the ones you got to please first. And so you go and you cut all that stuff out. That's what you're doing, man. You're hurting it. I mean, I don't know how else to say it, but I'm trying to say it in a nice way without being expletive and cursing out Whedon or cursing out WB or cursing out other people. I just think that they made a bad choice with that, but they should be able to learn from this. And if I was them, I would try and find every single way I could possibly get Zack Snyder's director's cut out there. And if you got to go and beg Zack Snyder, go and speak to Zack Snyder about that, you do that. I don't know if they will. They better, because people are going to now start putting pressure on them for that. And I'm going to be one of them as well, because I just believe they should do that. I'm going to look forward to Aquaman still at the end of this year. But we got some trust issues. I got some trust issues between me and the WB now. I'm just saying. Brian Jackson says, I'm going to mention Zod. Mary Milcott says, Zod took the scout ship that Clark activated to Metropolis, where Lex would make Doomsday. Even Zod's command key is in the slot. Lex pushes the key in and activates it. Uhara says, nice observation about monochromatic animals on Krypton, Mr. Christ. Damn. Yeah. Krypton. It's an interesting place, man. That's why I'm looking forward to, on Sci-Fi Channel, more about Krypton with David Goyer's take on it. You know, that'd be very interesting. Dave Ethan says, great observation, guys. I definitely learned something more, but let's stay calm here. We can't fall into pieces here. Oh, no, nobody's falling into pieces. You know, we're not gonna lose our minds over this, but I will say that now that I've settled down, calmed down, I'm able to assess the situation much better without being so emotional. I can say to you for sure, Dave Ethan, my objective now is to go with the release the Snyder Cut people and push for a Snyder Cut, while at the same time pointing out all the beautiful Snyderisms inside of the current Justice League version, which I will be purchasing online, so that I can go ahead and pull out all those gems from there and just say, if this is what Zack Snyder was doing in this cut, just imagine what he was doing in the cut that he had to show us. And that's all I'm saying. You know, I'm keeping it positive, but I'm going to be 100% honest with you guys. I just wish that that WB would let the director, Zack Snyder, do what he intended to do. Give the guy the creative freedom to do what he did. He had the creative freedom with Man of Steel. Some people even claim that Man of Steel is a masterpiece to this day. It may not be appreciated immediately sometimes. You got to take that risk, WB. And you got to stop comparing yourself to Marvel. Marvel's doing their thing. Marvel has their brand. Marvel's been out longer than you've been out. Marvel's built up their reputation with the fan base. You have to build your reputation, separate Marvel. You have to show the fan base what you have to offer, that when the fan base gets used to you and what you have to offer, and they realize how good it is, they will invest in you. You can't second guess yourself. You're either all in, like Justice League, or you're half doing it. And Justice League was a half done film in terms of the visual finish. It was pretty solid when it comes to the story and how everything fit together. But at the same time, that was just piece of what it really was supposed to be. And what it really was supposed to be was so much more than it gave us. And I am not trying to pretend like that is not the truth. Okay. It's still a Zack Snyder film, because it's mostly Zack Snyder that did it, but it is not the film Zack has for us. It's not that he's making; he has it. It's there. So that's why they said release the Snyder cut. I get it now. And so, yeah, I'm agreeing with the release the Snyder cut people. It took me a little while to get on board because I need more facts than other people. I could see the Snyderisms in the movie. When people say that's not a Zack Snyder film, I have to disagree with them. It is a Zack Snyder film that you saw in the theaters. But now I was saying that there wasn't a Zack Snyder cut. No, there is a Zack Snyder cut. There is one. All right, there is one. All the evidence points to it. I can't say there isn't one. W. Mir says, I just finished purchasing it. Make sure you get the bonus features, W. Mir. Get the one with the bonus features. I'm still trying to get my stuff ironed out so I can purchase it online because I have to do certain semi-dimmies. I got the money and everything, but it's just to get it processed properly. Mary Wilcox, well, as long as no one gets up and starts throwing chairs, I think we're good, love. Oh, people might start throwing chairs. People might start.
Who wants to throw chairs?
So I'm not gonna lie to you, man. When I first saw the scene with Superman and the black suit, I was ready to throw a chair. I was ready to throw a chair. I was angry. I was like, what is going on here? Why couldn't this be in the movie? Oh, man. Hold on one second for a minute. R2, if you want to make any other points about the digital copy or anything else, feel free to talk.
Let's go through comments. Who should I respond to? Let's see. That's Mary said something about throwing chairs. That was not that one, not that one. Okay, that. Okay. Mary and Dave had an argument, but they have it okay now. You should not have released this version. Mashok Udin, does it pronounce that? Says they should not have released this version. Did you purchase it? Okay, if you purchase it, then you probably know something. Okay, Mary says Dave was kidding. Peter Fraza watching you guys direct from Brazil. Good job, peace out. Yeah, good to hear you, Heath. Healed her. Dave apologizes to Mary. W. Mir says Snyder does not speak in any interviews on the bonus features. Why? Okay, tell us more. Join us in the hangouts. Tell us more. Mary apologizes, says all good, Dave. Okay, good. Again, good to see you two made up. Mashuk Udin says, hoping Wonder Woman 2 would put DC back in right place because Wonder Woman is the only good thing about going for DC. Yeah, the movie was good. I'm also waiting to see the sequel. I hope it has Cheetah in it. I hope it has Barbara and Minerva, her friendship with Diana, and the tragedy how she turned into Cheetah.
And I think they're going to call it tentatively the Magic Hour. That's what they're calling it.
Oh, what were you replying to?
I'll just add into your comment. You said you were reading off the comments in the chat section. So I was like, yeah, you could go ahead. You just keep on. Yeah, I'm just throwing in some comments.
Okay. Mika, I say too. W. Mir says no Moss, BBS, SS, and all footage from Zack's JL are good things going for DC along with Wonder Woman. Okay, so Brian Jackson, I watched it 3 times, but it wasn't like most BBS like 15 times. I didn't get the feeling like that from Wonder Woman. And he said, "Don't Mary Wilcox that you totally agree about." What about every overhyped MCU movie. Yeah, that's what I think it's so. As long as it's just Marvel, and people are gonna go watch it no matter what. That's something like that. Then Dave says, "Creepy video. This will be shared." Okay, everyone's gonna hear my beautiful voice and my ruggedly handsome face, along with Chris, along with Anzus. W says, "Agreed." Okay, about sharing this or about that. Nah, okay, maybe it's something like that. Brian Jackson, I watched it 3 times, but it was. Wait, did I just read it? Yeah, I just read it. Mary Wilcox agreed to about that. Mary tells Bryant, yeah, I got that. I love Wonder Woman 2, but I've seen my BVS more times on physical release. I saw Wonder Woman theaters 3 times and Jail and 4. I saw BVS once. Love it once it came out. Yeah, that was great. Urahara 012. Wider public reaction to worldwide ending threat is one of the crucial things that was missing from the World Justice League. What do you say about that thing? Should there have been more public reaction to the Justice League fighting Steppenwolf than just the Russian family, or like should there have been some other audience to the world or some other people in the world watching?
Kind of like what happened in Man of Steel. How Man of Steel, there was this big threat and all these people dying and stuff. I personally didn't have a problem with what I saw, but I would love to see what Zach had in store, and even if there was any how the presence of Steppenwolf would work, because that red sky, you know, we knew that it was going to be with this dome and this red sky and stuff going on, but I would have loved to see if people observed it from some other place. That would have been interesting as well. But again, yeah. I would just want to see what Zach had in mind. You know, that's just my personal perspective. I was fine with the family, focusing on a family and carrying the story to the end with the family. I didn't really have a problem with that. But of course, if you could have a much grander scale, that would be also interesting, because we had a grand scale with the Great War. So it would have been nice to have that grand scale. But then again, Steppenwolf was kind of just now starting to do things. So I don't know. I want to see what Zach had. That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know. Yeah.
Okay, what was next? After that, Urahara 012 said, you know, something in the style of Man of Steel, when regular human soldiers interfere with the combat between. Like if the military had been also there.
Right. Because in Man of Steel, we had Kal-El fighting Fiora and Namek, but you also had the military presence that was fighting at the same time with them. I wonder if am I mute? Oh, yeah. So he was saying that he wanted something like kind of what happened with Man of Steel, where human beings were also involved in fighting Steppenwolf. And you know, that's a nice idea. I don't know what the plan was with Zach. I don't think he was going to do all of that, but I don't know.
Probably. I'm going to go bathroom break. You go on. I'll get back.
Guys, we've been speeding through this stuff. William Muir says, oh yes, the world, oops, wow, you guys are really talking. The world did not react to the heroes like Man of Steel and BVS. Well, the thing about it is, though, I don't think the world was aware of Steppenwolf's presence. He was kind of doing it on the down low. So it was only the people closest to Steppenwolf that actually knew. And that was part of the storyline, I do think, anyway. So I don't know if the name of the city was going to be the same, but the storyline was kind of working around that. Urahara said, a public reflection on massive destruction of Metropolis that was addressed in Batman v Superman in such a deep philosophical and controversial matter. What we got instead? Again, I don't know if that was I don't think that was where we were at, because we were starting with Superman's death again. So it was more people responding to the death of Superman That was about the disaster in Metropolis. I think Batman v Superman kind of discussed the disaster in Metropolis and moved on from there. So since Superman had faced doomsday and saved the world from that, and he died in the process, I think the world was now looking at what happens post Superman. So I don't know if that would have actually happened. Urahara says a couple of policemen appearing on the Superman's resurrection scene and some anonymous Russian family getting in trouble during Steppenwolf's invasion. Again, I'm not gonna tear down what Zach was doing. That was Zach's idea with the Russian family, and it was also his idea with the military and the police presence when Superman was resurrected. But there was more. There was more presence with police officers and military because we saw a tank get thrown. So there was a lot more going on there, as far as I could see. Urahara says public indifference to the world-changing events in the actual universe is MCU style of writing most of the time. Again, I don't think that's so because we saw a family and we saw that they were affected by it. So it wasn't public indifference. It's just that that family represented the people who were close to the area where Steppenwolf was. And we saw a lot of people get involved with Steppenwolf. We had the scientists who were abducted, the cleaning people in Star Labs. We had a family that was oppressed by the parademons and the people in the area that had to run away, and Superman saved some of them. We had the I think that's about it, isn't it? I think that's about it. Right. So all in all, there was something, but remember, Steppenwolf was moving more covertly. And the interesting thing was, it wasn't just humans who were affected by him. It was Amazons that were affected by him. There were Atlanteans that were affected by him. So it wasn't just the human race they were trying to speak about. When we talk about the world, there were all these other beings that exist there with the Earthlings. Urara 12 says, it's a shame. Where are we? What is shame? Because they're capable of much more and tend to dumb things down to appeal to a wider audience. In this case, I think they took the edge off of things. It's not necessarily dumb things down. It's like they took out details. And Zack Snyder's a detailed director. So I felt that they took the edge off of stuff and they took the grounding off of stuff. Not necessarily they dumb things down, but there's a lot of less detail put into the movie. And Zack's all about detail. Public indifference to the world change. Okay. Urahara 10112 says, that's precisely what bothers me. When it comes to Justice League 2, if it was pure Zack Snyder vision, he would never allow such writing flatness. Oh, again, Chris Terry did most of the script writing for this, and Joss Whedon kind of helped out here and there. So I don't think it was script writing flatness. It's just there's much more richness to the story, and because such stuff was cut out, it's the cutting out that I think mostly hurt this film. Even if you left in some Whedon scenes with the where he worked along with Zack in the discussion of Superman's death resurrection, and when we look at a certain Whedon scene with Batman and Wonder Woman discussing leadership, of course some of that Zack shot that, but the point is those things don't hurt the movie per se, and the script writing that Whedon did there. And even some of the script writing humor that Whedon wrote in that Zack directed doesn't hurt the movie. What hurts the movie is the fact that they cut out character moments, things we read, fan moments that the fans are yearning for. Zack Snyder loves to please the fans. He's got all these fan moments make you go look at that richness. And then they cut down on the action scenes and certain telling character moments that defined Cyborg. For instance, Steppenwolf says earlier to Cyborg, you're a creature of chaos. That motif was cut out of the film to the most part. You had to actually look to interpolate where the moments where that would be applying. And Cyborg is absolutely a creature of chaos in that he's two beings. He's a living machine, plus he's got human elements to him. And the machine part of him, what people call the grid, for those of you who don't know what the grid is, go and find out about it. The grid part of him is what causes the chaos. And when Cyborg was tapping into those mother boxes, the grid in him was having him indecisive about certain things. So there's a lot of moments. You can tell the moment was cut out because you hear Cyborg actually say, this is not, I guess, not what I thought it would be. And when Steppenwolf even picks him up, which I think was a Whedon moment, and he says, do you see it? It's because Steppenwolf was trying to convince Cyborg to come across to his side, because you're a creature of chaos. You're not made to try and defend this world. You're just an asset for me. And so when he finally says you're not qualified to touch Mother, is because Cyborg fought back against that. And we didn't get that moment in there. Cyborg was involved in a lot of action scenes. And if you go into behind the scenes footage, he and Aquaman was kicking ass. Okay? It's kicking ass. All right? In Steppenwolf's lair. We didn't get to see those moments, right? Because Cyborg got so much to him. And there's a lot of stuff that was cut out. And those are character moments that Zack Snyder had developed. And so what I'm just saying, just an example of what I'm saying, is because they cut out those moments. I'm not saying that they chopped the film to shreds. Absolutely not. It was something that made sense. But it was bare bones. Warner Brothers decided, I think, in my opinion, to optimize what they had and then give some of the better parts maybe in deleted scenes or whatever. It backfired on them. All right. They wanted a 2-hour-long movie and extra stuff, and people was not having that. They were like, nah, you sold us this product in your ads, and you gave us this product in the movie. Yeah, you gave us this. You gave us a version of the shots. You gave us the version of Batman in his lair when he's looking out saying something darker. We saw it as a picture. We got a version of Cyborg where we seen picture shots of him as a footballer. You know what I'm saying? We got shots of Batman up on the gargoyle. He's kind of blurred out but we wanted what you sold us that was going to come to this movie. We got Superman talking to Lois Lane, right? But the details you sold us on, where we was going to get the answer to that, we're left hanging. So it's those kinds of things that I'm talking about. They're character moments, and they're just stripped from the film. And you're like, what's going on here? They had all this big discussion about who was going to greet Alfred. They stripped it from the film. They stripped it from the film. People are still guessing it was a Green Lantern. Until that deleted scene came, we realized it was Superman. Why couldn't you answer that in the film? It didn't even take a decent minute, you know? And it's these kinds of things that gets people up in arms. You're trying to push for runtime to get more turnover in viewings. But then if you go and you say, for instance, it's a chicken, right? And you just cut off everything and you just leave the skeleton of the chicken. You tell people, hey, look, I brought chicken. And you advertise for this chicken. Look at plump, fat chicken. And when people come to eat chicken, it's bones. Don't they feel robbed? Well, it's the same way. You've been pitching to everybody, hey, this is what we're going to give you. This is what we're going to. And everybody's waiting and they anticipate, and then you come and you give them this. And it's a great story and everything. It's a fantastic story, but it's bare bones. That's all I'm saying. Mashuk Udin says they're underpowered Wonder Woman in Justice League compared to our own movie. They made her weak in terms of power. Do you agree? No, not particularly. I mean, she was powerful. She was dealing with a superpowered being. She was powerful, and she did what Wonder Woman do. She put the dagger in the coffin. But at the end of the day, my thing is that I'm not there to pick apart the film. I'm there to speak on character moments. I'm there to speak on Zack Snyder's, the way how he directs things. And even Zack Snyder, I told people, check out the movie Snow, Steam, and Iron. You'll get an idea of what Zack Snyder's saying about his experience with that and other things, right? Mary Wilcox, nobody wants to feed on bones. Exactly. But actually, dogs love feeding on bones. Dogs love the marrow. I mean, some people love to chew on bones. Sometimes bones can be really tasty, man. They got the best taste and best juices in them. But I'm just saying, if you got a nice plump chicken with the bones, why would I go for a plump chicken? I would say, hey, no, don't give me no chicken with the bones. I just want the bones. That's dumb. You know what I'm saying?
That's good.
I'm just saying. Mushak Udin says fight between Superman versus Wonder Woman should have been longer. Wonder Woman is the closest to Superman in terms of power compared to the rest of the league. I was disappointed in that fight scene. All right, cool. I mean, I can respect that. Yeah. Yes, R2.
Yeah, that Wonder Woman comment that Mashuk Udin brought up the underpowered Wonder Woman in Justice League compared to her own movie. I would like to come to point out here that compared to conscripted German soldiers who pretty much wouldn't want to be there are, as I said, conscripted, and then Ludendorff, who was, let's say, venomed up, that Dr. Poison gave him venom.
Super soldier. Yeah, super soldier.
Yeah, and super or super soldiers kind of venom. They are not actually probably in the same ranks or fighting tiers as probably Parademons and Steppenwolf is, and then with Superman, who is a solar powered alien, and the power levels go way above the people who Wonder Woman fought in her own movie. And
I mean, the only person she fought that was really powerful in her own movie was Ares.
Yeah. Ares, or probably he or Ares. I don't know how to count that, but those people, but the German soldiers and Ludendorff, even when he was given his own Dr. Poison super soldier serums, the Ares was the one who was throwing Wonder Woman through the airport strips when they were fighting and so forth. Ares was the most powerful that she was fighting then, and then in the Justice League, Parademons, we don't know what their strength levels, but if there are Darkseid's elite soldiers, they can't be quite that weak as German soldiers. And Steppenwolf is another New Gods general. His power levels were there also somewhat higher. That Wonder Woman wasn't weakened down in Justice League. I think more like Wonder Woman was fighting much more stronger opponents in Justice League than in her own movie.
Correct. And then you have a lot of Parademons too. The thing about them, they're like locusts, so there's a whole bunch of them. Yeah, exactly. And the thing about it, like I was saying, is that when you look at, what I don't think Wonder Woman was depowered in any way, shape, or form. I think that she actually was leading the team. If people haven't been watching, she was leading the team, and Ares was weakened when Wonder Woman faced him. He was a weakened version of his former self. We saw Ares attacking Steppenwolf. Ares fought Steppenwolf, right? And Steppenwolf took Ares' blows. He took Zeus's thunderbolts. All right. That's crazy, man. So Ares is very, very powerful. In fact, I don't think Ares is not Ares, Steppenwolf. Steppenwolf, I don't think he's even dead. I think Steppenwolf's still alive. All those Parademons that attacked Steppenwolf, I still think he's alive. Didn't like the corny way how his helmet fell off, but that was weed and stuff, I guess.
Yeah, that was
probably. It felt like a Marvel film.
There was also that some report. I don't know if it can be said to be a rumor now, or if the storyboards that you showed included in a scripted scene about Steppenwolf's fate. They said that something of like Steppenwolf was supposed to boom to Apocalypse, where Darkseid would have confronted him over his failure, and then Omega Beast.
I don't know, man. That's a rumor for me. I have not been able to confirm that. The only thing they have showed us with Darkseid was a kind of sort of vision through the Kryptonian ship that Cyborg gets to know about him, that Zack Snyder has in the storyboard. The other stuff, I don't know, man. It's more, I don't know. It's not confirmed by me. I don't have any confirmation. If anybody has confirmation out there, please share it with us. But as far as I do know, I didn't get any confirmation of that. But it seems as though Steppenwolf is a really, really powerful dude. They were talking about Hegra being Steppenwolf's mother, and I don't think so. I think Hegra is Darkseid's mother, if I'm not mistaken. Hegra is Darkseid.
Also some reports that they would have changed in the movie that that Steppenwolf is in the comics. He is Darkseid's uncle. That
He
they would
is
have
in
changed
this movie too.
him to be Darkseid's, let's say, elder brother, and
No,
Hegra is both of their mother.
In art of the film, he's Darkseid's uncle. So they confirmed, that's confirmed. He's his uncle. They made
okay, then that's it. That's it. But even then, maybe how should I?
I think Hegra's his sister.
Yeah.
I think Hegra's.
But then there's also that when he spoke that some are there also rumors that when he gets speaking mother in the mother box that they would have been talking to Hegra, that Hegra would have been trapped in there, and he would have needed Hegra to help him in putting Darkseid in his place, and Darkseid taking and like Syrian hints told us about Darkseid back in 2016 winter when he was doing some of his own scene.
I don't know why he was calling the mother boxes Hegra. That's a very mother. I don't know why he was calling them mother, and it seems as though this mother, whatever mother this thing is seems to be an entity that he's speaking to that is kind of independent of the boxes, but yet dependent on the boxes for some reason. Because he's talking to the box, but he's saying mother, but you could have 2-3 boxes and he's still calling it mother. So whatever this entity is, it's something that creates things. I believe mother may be just the creation of worlds, the reshaping of worlds, but he's talking directly to something because the mother boxes are talking to him. So it's some entity of some kind he's talking to.
Or there's that. I have something about how mother boxes work, that there are multiple mother boxes, not just 3 as we saw in the movies. That in comics there are multiple mother boxes that they can be either boxes or phone-shaped remotes. That but there's something that they are also being said that they are alive. So there is some entity in it.
Yes, they're living.
Last time I read JLA Avengers comic book where Iron Man, for example, was given a mother box, and he was asked if he could reverse or engineer or something about hack it. He described it as something like, I don't think it's a lot. I don't think it was alive. What was the correct quotation? I have the comic in my shelf.
Sure, you fix it.
Hold on a minute.
Yeah. So mother boxes are alive, and you have father boxes and you have mother boxes. The father boxes are from New Genesis. The mother boxes are from Apocalypse, and the mother boxes, they give life. That's one of the things they do. But when they give life, they actually give an entity with that. So for instance, Cyborg became a living machine, which he controls. But the living part of that machine is from the mother boxes. Just like how the mother boxes gave Superman life, but Superman has operating within himself an entity as well. So that's what can bring about evil Superman in some way, shape, or form if Darkseid could somehow control that.
Okay, here it is. Okay. Okay. Right here. Captain America asks, Iron Man, can you analyze that gadget? Is it any use? And Iron Man replies, I don't think it's a gadget, Cap. She's more alive. She's speaking to me through my armor, through my heart. She's called a mother box. And she and I, we can, and seeing gods that they're transported to Metropolis.
So it is a she, and because of course mother box, a she spirit. But it's interesting though why he calls it mother, and I would like to know a little bit more about that, because I think they may have elaborated more on it in the director's cut, maybe not, but I really want to know a little bit more about mother boxes. So it's just one of those interesting things, and they did talk about it a little bit in Justice League, but I'm just curious about more about it. And here are some other comments from the comment section. We got a ton of them. Yuhar012 says, and just not comparison with the DCU franchise, but also the rest of Wonder Woman movie. He's talking about Wonder Woman. William Mara says, do you guys think that Lex had a larger, if not more substantial role in the film? I don't think so. Yuhara1012 says, I would admit, I personally don't think so. I agree with him. David Ethan says, wonderful video, guys. Definitely worth sharing. W. Mirror says, I don't know. There was supposed to be a deleted scene of Deathstroke breaking him out of Arkham and jail. Official guide did say Steppenwolf enlists Lex help throughout the film. Oh, really? Okay, cool. Urahara, because at the end of the movie, Steppenwolf talks about God coming back into the sky, which is very interesting. Urahara012 says, at Mary Wilcox, yeah, but on the other hand, Batman was struggling against a single one in the beginning, which could be additionally interpreted as downplaying Batman, right? Well, Batman in BVS, he got knocked out by one. So he actually did a little bit better against the parademons. He found a way to sort of subdue one, catch one. It died, committed suicide. And he's been fighting a couple parademons. He fought a couple parademons in the movie. He shut up a couple of them. You know, he punched one down the shaft. He was able to overcome and defeat one. So yeah, Batman, he held his own against the parademons, and he was shooting a whole bunch of them in the final fight scene. And by the way, the final fight scene, a lot of it Zack Snyder shot, a lot of the action especially. I think the part that was changed was a certain part where, well, there's a lot that was cut from it too. There's a lot of stuff that was cut from the final fight scene. We all know that. Aquaman coming up, stabbing the parademons, Cyborg and Aquaman, Cyborg shooting some parademons, and Aquaman using this trident against them inside of the actual cave, and Wonder Woman coming down with Cyborg and Aquaman and taking on the parademon, Superman leading the charge with the Justice League, Flash behind there, and they were looking up at Steppenwolf. At one point, Superman was down below. I don't know, he was looking up at something. So I'm just saying there was a lot of action that was cut from the film. Okay. And some of the action that would have played out a certain way didn't play out the way it did. We sort of tapered together certain parts of it. All right, you can tell when Aquaman punched Steppenwolf after Steppenwolf had slammed the Flash into the side of the thing, and Aquaman was fighting Steppenwolf. Even Wonder Woman coming up and fighting Steppenwolf at the end, Superman blowing that cold breath and stuff. Some of that was Whedon in there. You know, you could tell where Whedon was in there. Yeah. Urahara12 says, Mary Comes. But then again, that was probably just Whedon. Right. There you go. Mary Wilcox, Urahara112. I don't think so. Just Whedon. He downplays everything, which is sad because back in the late 90s and early 2000s, he never used to. Downplays what? You guys really like to bash Whedon, man. He tried the best he could, man. He's not Zack Snyder, so you can't expect the best. But I thought the Batman opening credits scene was pretty nice, even though Zack Snyder had something to do with that too. Whedon didn't shoot a full scene in that movie except for the beginning of the movie and the end of the movie. All the other scenes in the movie, he put in his little input and stuff. He had his little script writing credits and stuff where he'd interface with certain people and whatever. But Zack had a lot to do with a lot of those action of those scenes, as even some of the dialogue. Urahara112 at Mary Wilcox agreed. Urahara112. Or, you know, maybe Batman was simply swarmed by the armed enemies in the respective nightmare scene, and that's why he went down so fast. Oh, you're talking about with Batman? Well, yeah, parademons. Really, it's the strength of parademons. There are different size parademons, all of that, but the strength of parademons is really in their numbers. They are strong though, and they feed off of fear, and they have a certain degree of armor on them. That's another thing. You know, the movie didn't really explain how they move from creatures that feed on fear to becoming these mechanized creatures. You notice they're kind of mechanized, right? That's why that parademon exploded, because he had this mechanization on him. So it's very interesting what the mother boxes did to them. I think the mother boxes had to have something to do with that. Mary Quilco says, Urahara112. Yeah, I think you're right. So I loved all the questions you guys asked. I know you guys enjoyed this video. We've been going for quite a while. And we just wanted to talk a little bit about that. Digital releases out there online. If you want links to the digital release, I can get it to you right now. You can just simply go to the Justice League official movie site. And it's right here. I'll give you the link right now. For those of you who want Snow, Steam, and Iron. All right, so that's the Justice League. I just put it in the chat section, justiceleaguemovie.com. You can check out that. If those of you who want the Snow, Steam, and Iron, I'm going to put that in the chat section right now. You go to, basically you go to Zack Snyder's Cruel and Unusual Films. That's his filmmaking website. You go to the movies he made, and you can get that. There's Snow, Steam, and Iron right there. It's in the chat section now. All right. Dave Ethan says, all right, time to go crazy to demand the Snyder Cut. Ha ha! No, seriously, go crazy if you want, man. But first, go ahead and buy that digital release, and we're just going to go straight on with the Zack Snyder Cut. But I'm going to show you guys still all of the links between the previous DCEU movies and this Justice League movie. I'm waiting for my cut. I got to try and get my cut. Mary Wilcox says, yeah, I wasn't bashing him either. He's done a lot of good works. It's just recently, not so much. I know. Well, Joss Whedon, man. Man. It's just one of those things, man. W. Mir says, if Whedon knew Zack made a long movie, you don't think he would have negotiated to have the movie 2:30 or at least 2:15? I guess he was working to try and get it at whatever the execs wanted. Because remember, you're working towards a certain goal. And, you know, he probably was working towards whatever they said they wanted. And he had to make it happen. You know, it's just what it is. Of course, he was happy to do it. When he had the creative freedom, he was going to do what he thought he would do. But he lost a lot of battle. He lost a lot of battle with them. So, Mary Wilcox, I'm going to check out Zack's latest project. It looks good. And Iron. You can also look at my breakdown of Snow, Steel, and Iron. And you can also look at the cast, the people who made the film. It takes an hour, though, to read my breakdown, to go through my breakdown. If you want, you can speed up the video, or you can just interpret it yourself. W. Mir says he was a director of billion-dollar movies. WB could have listened to him. That's true. He may have suggested certain things, and they may have gone down the route. But he lost the battle. He lost the battle with the Batman scene. He lost that battle, and that's good. I mean, I'm glad WB, because I didn't want the guy to be trash-talking Batman. And, you know, Batman done already went through a lot in that film. Dave Ethan, but not too crazy. Yeah, and then what else you guys might want to know? So I got the links to the digital copy. If you guys want to support Release the Snyder Cut, people, I know you may not agree with everything they say in terms of facts, but you can also support them. We definitely want to get a director's cut going. So the sooner we can get a director's cut out there, if we can get it this year, I don't know if that's possible, but it might be. I say go for it and push hard. People surrounding Zack Snyder, guys like Clay Enos and so on, they, you know, put up some subtle things like Rorschach and say no compromise, meaning don't come doing half-done jobs. Don't try to compromise certain things when you're being an artist. So I would suggest that those of you who want to support the Snyder Cut, now is a good time to do it. Once you've bought your bonus feature, your bonus thing up. W. Mir says Snyder doesn't speak in the bonus features, just saying. Right. So that's interesting as well. That he's not really having a voice there in different things. But you can see Zack Snyder in some of the bonus features, I'm pretty sure. So URL 1012 says have to go to work. Bye, guys. You have a good day, URL 112. Lots of you guys came through to talk about this movie, and I'm sure you're going to share it with a lot of people. So the Release the Snyder Cut, people, man, there are some lies in there, and there's some truth in there. So you had to sift through the truth and the lies. I try to share things which are at least factually, I'm pretty sure they're factually sound. And I'm not going to knock, I'm not going to bash and knock directors who've taken their time to direct films. But what I will say is that I would prefer that we don't try to go down the route of formulaic ways of doing things. And I think Warner Brothers has been known, even Zack Snyder said that, Warner Brothers has been known to have a certain tone, a certain tenor to their films, and a certain degree of creativity to their films. And the moment you take away the art form and you're trying to commercialize, you make it so commercialized that it's a formula, that's the thing where they go wrong. And just add one more thing, that Zack Snyder's he's an independent filmmaker. That's where his background comes from. And the reason I'm not interested in Marvel films this year, though they're making money, they're making bank, and they're making good bank, is because they're formulaic films. And I'm not interested in formulaic films. People think that, yeah.
And as I told earlier, as long as it says Marvel on it, people are going to go watch them.
Yeah, which is good for them. I mean, that's not good for me. That's just not my thing. So me personally, the DCEU is what I'm looking forward to. Creative things. The point behind it wasn't to bash Marvel. My point was these movies have been the demographic that I got my entertainment from. So Warner Bros. Has to pay attention to that. There's this group of people who are not interested in a Marvel formula. We already got Marvel formula. Why would we need another Marvel formula? You know what I mean? Fox was doing that thing with the rated R thing. They was doing their rated R thing, right? They had their own little demographic they was doing. Marvel's has its own demographic. But there are people who are not interested in Disney Marvel's demographic. What happens to them? Well, they came and they started watching the DCEU. That's how people started interested in DCEU. That's why they made what they made. So if they want to just go more to the Marvel side of things because they think they'll get more money that way, they're going to be rudely awakened because there's a demographic there that is their core base support, which is interested more in creative films, in the director-driven films, not in the company-driven films. And that's what Warner Bros. Was giving them. If they want to depart from that and try and get to some formulaic thing, they're going to get a rude awakening. And that's what they got this time around. And it wasn't even bad. This film was not bad by any stretch of the imagination. It wasn't finished, but it wasn't bad at all. It was a good story and everything. And there's lots of Zack Snyder in the film, but it wasn't what it should have fully been. And that's the problem. What the director already had what he was doing and what fully the reshoots, and the other director was simply supposed to fill in those spots that the director was doing. And if they couldn't have done it, they should have just left it as it was, because it was better if it was the way it was. Well, I'm assuming a lot, but it probably would have been better the way it was than just trying to do all of these other things to change it, sort of to twist it in a direction you wanted it to go. It didn't work out. It was flush, I'll say, but it didn't work out the way they wanted to. If they had the finishing touch on it, probably would have helped them a lot more. But there's a lot of things for people to get kind of inflamed about, and that's what they did. So hopefully that's a learning lesson for them. There's a lot of people who love the movie, though. I still love the cut I saw. I'm buying it definitely, and not gonna even try not to buy it. I'll recommend people see it too, but I'll tell them, but there's a better cut out there now. And if the people say, well, I'll wait for the better cut, I'll say, well, I mean, we don't know when that's coming, so you might well buy this one, but there's a better cut out there. We will try and work to see if we can get it probably to come sooner, but money talks, so we'll see. But at least Warner Brothers will know. They'll know and learn their lesson, because I don't think this cut is going to make a whole set of money in the home release. I don't think so. People are not going to buy things under duress. Oh, because we're looking forward to a better cut, we will watch this guy. And then people won't buy into that, because they'll be like, you tricked us the first time, you're not going to trick us the second time, so that we buy your product. And then, so some people who don't buy into that, they're not going to buy. I love the film, so I'm definitely buying this cut. And I'm looking forward to the director's cut at the same time. So I'll give Warner Brothers some money, of course. I don't have a problem with that. Still angry though about certain things, but I'll give them their money. And what we do is, now that we got a taste of what Zack Snyder was doing, give me some more of him. I want the whole thing. Give me an ultimate cut. Give me a director's cut. Give me everything. Give me it. Give it to me now. Like the fans would say. Anyway, man, it was good talking with everybody. It was nice talking with R2 Lebanon. I saw David Ethan wanted to be on there. We'll try and get everybody in there. It's lovely to see the DCU fandom alive and well. You guys have a great afternoon, great night. For those of you at nighttime, those of you in the daytime, have a good one as well. And we'll still stay positive about DC. You will still see me in the Justice League Unite. There's a group also on Facebook called Real DCU Fans. You can join that group. That's where we discuss the themes and so on in the DCU, much bigger things, and see how that can translate into everyday living as well. On that note, R2 Limited. all my friends here: Dave, Ethan, Mary, Wilcox, Urahara 02012, Dave Mir, R2 Lemonin. We got a whole bunch of people here. Let me see if I can just get all your names here. Who else we got here? Who else we got? Mashuk Udin, Brian Jackson, Mary Wilcox, Hilter Frazeo, and who else we got? And John Wonder, Notoriety Magazine, right, and Marcus Harrell. All of you guys, you have a great evening. On that, you have a good night. All right, see you guys later.
Night.
Peace.